So, good morning, everyone. Bonjour. My name is Moises Rockembach from University of Coimbra in Portugal, and I'm going to present with my fellow Jonas Ferrigolo Melo from the University of Porto, work called the Web Archiving for Preserving the Digital Memory of Brazil. So this presentation is a follow-up to the presentation we gave a year ago at the last conference in the Netherlands, where we present some advances in web archiving in Brazil. The objective is to provide an overview of the evolution of web archiving and its challenge in Brazil. Since our last presentation, several actions have been taken, including events focused in web archiving and digital humanities, and the potential use of web archive as a research source. The academic community most involved in this topic, as expected, consists of librarians, archivists, and information science scholars in Brazil. Our efforts also aim to involve digital humanities, thereby engage in research from fields such as history, political science, communication, sociology, and anthropology in the use of web archives. In doing so, we highlight to these research communities the importance of preserving internet history through web archiving to enable access to history information and prevent that data loss. Since 2017, we have had the involvement of the research group of web archiving and digital preservation at the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, which conduct theoretical and applied studies on web archive from the perspective of information science and digital humanities. The research group was established with the objective to investigate characteristics of web archiving through national and international initiatives, dealing with both the policies and the technologies involved in the process. It studies aspects related to the preservation, use, and access over time of digital objects made available on the web, functioning as a digital memory with contributions of archival science, library science, information science, communication, and computer science. It's a research group that has been very active in the recent years, and we have recently published a book in Portuguese on web archive and digital preservation, in which we had the honor of having a professor, Professor Niels Brugger. The book is available online and for free at the website arquivo.long.br. The research group collects also websites related to the Brazilian presidential elections, climate change, and institutional websites. It utilizes tools like Heritrix for automated web archive collection and PIWB for access and exploration of preserved websites. The fact that we are close observe some change in the national structures and policies allow us to collect websites which with a specific focus. For example, among the harvesting we have done, we noticed some significant difference in the last years. In 2021, there was a big change in the structure of the domain of Brazilian government websites. All ministers and national bodies now use .gov.br / the name of the organization. So the URL was changed. They also changed the internal structure, design, and contents of the websites. So web archives can now show all these changes over time. Additionally, as I mentioned before, the website arquivo.long.br was developed to facilitate scientific communication in web archive and to educate about tools and challenges in working with web archiving in Brazilian institutions. This website aims to bring together a community of practice and disseminate useful tools for managing digital archive preservation, include web archives. In the past year, two other projects are crawling Brazilian websites. ArcWeb from the Brazil Institute of Information Science and Technology, a governmental organization under the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, which collaborate with partners institutions, and the Graúna project by the NUPEF Institute, an NGO that collects websites of public interest related to human rights and the environment, culture, and health. The challenges in National Web Archive are not only technical, but also involve policies and guidelines to assist organizations and start their own web archiving projects. In this regard, we have seen some interesting developments in the past year, include the publication of 2 resolutions by the National Archives of Brazil, which we had the opportunity to help develop. And I will now hand it to Jonas to speak more about it.
Well, now, just I'm going to present the actions come from the federal government through the National Council of Archives, which establish technical chambers to define guidelines for the elaboration of studies, proposal, and solutions for the preservation of websites and social media in Brazil. The National Council of Archives is a collegiate linked to the National Archives of Brazil. This collegiate invites some specialists to form this technical chamber. The chamber was composed by experts from the National Archives, the National Library, Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul, and NUAWeb. We were both part of this group. We spent 12 months of working, and we have made dozens of meetings to create these documents. Based on its general goals, that the technical chamber has produced documents that helps the government preserve the dynamic digital contents. We are talking especially about websites and social media content. Both documents both documents were submitted to public consultation. We have received some suggestion, and it was approved by the National Council of Archives in December 2022. And the documents was published as a federal resolutions 1 year later in December 2023. The resolution number 52 established the websites and social media preservation policy that aims to describe the principles, guidelines, goals, and responsibilities regarding the preservation of public administration websites and social media. And the guide the bodies in developing strategies, programs, and actions for preserving websites and social media. The second document defining the minimum recommendations of base elements for websites and social media digital preservation. This document presents a more specific test in which the steps correspond the macro process of the digital preservation of websites. It describes the steps of preserving websites and social media. The steps that we define are the selections, define the scope of the web archive, the user community identification, archivability, prioritization of the elements, definition of metadata, capture, quality control, storage, and access. Both documents are published in the websites of the National Council of Archives if you like to have access. And as a final remark and lessons learned, we highlight 3 points. First, it's very important to recognize the process we have made. In just a few years of research and work, we already have a public policy that deals with web archiving in Brazil. This policy is a great and important achievement. They were written with the intentions of being included in the context of Brazilians' archive and digital preservation practices already inserted in Brazilian institutions. Despite the process, it's important to recognize the ongoing challenges associated with preservation dynamic content. The ephemeral and ever-changing nature of the web and social media contents presents unique challenges for preservation efforts. Therefore, it's essential to keep developing strategies and tools to face these challenges and ensure the effective preservation of digital heritage. Last but not least, it's super important to update our preservation tools and technologies to deal with constant difficulties. Working together with different institutions is the key here, because it's allow us to share research, knowledge, and tricks to solve digital preservation problems. Investing money in research and development of new tools and shore up our partnership can boost the way that we preserve websites and social media in Brazil. Here you have our contacts. You can find us on YouTube. YouTube, LinkedIn. Professor Moises Rockembach. You can find also on Twitter. Here. X. Nice. And here you have our email. If you want to access this documents, of course, it's in Portuguese. You can find this in this both websites. Thank you.